Dick Teague, the chief styling guy for AMC, decided in '65 that they had to build something with a little bit more performance and a little bit more style. Let's face it, if you had an AMC, you were a little bit different back then. What he came up with is the AMX, which stood for American Motors Experimental. Well, they'd learned from all the other manufacturers, in order to produce a great muscle car, you have to go with a small, fairly lightweight package, put a fairly big motor in it, in this case a 390, 315 horsepower, but it wasn't so much the horsepower number that was impressive, it was the torque number, 425 foot-pounds of torque. As far as suspension went, when you ordered the Go package, you got Siffer springs, you got better shocks, you got disc brakes up front, you got the E70 red line tires, and you also got the 2 stripes over top of the hood. Not a bad deal for just under 300 bucks. The power plant in this car, most people opted for the 390. It was basically a 343, but a little bit tougher. Forged crank, forged rods, bigger bearings. That helped at high RPM.
Well, the AMX, it's one of the lighter weight performers, I think, there. So it's so as far as that goes, it's got plenty of sport to it.
I think that will give it an advantage. I mean, simple physics states that if you're trying to accelerate a smaller mass than something else, then it's probably going to accelerate quicker. We'll see how it turns out, but I expect the lightweight will help the AMX both in drag racing and in slalom.
The first time was almost scary. As soon as I hit the brakes hard, the car just darted all over the place.
Yeah, the brakes slow the wheel and tire assembly, but the tires actually slow the car.
Second time, trying to threshold brake a little bit more. It worked better. The third one stopped nice and straight. That was by far our best run. This car under braking, pleasantly surprised. No drama whatsoever. Threshold braking, very easy to modulate the pedal. Easy car to stop straight. The first run was a little bit scary. The pedal was spongy and it just felt like it was going to go to the floor. It felt okay at the end. Now, it's sort of funny that these things are getting better with each braking, and I think what we're doing is finally getting some heat into the pads and into the rotor, and that's actually stopping better. Seems like these brakes get better with every stop, and again, I think we're putting heat into the pads. The other thing is these bias-ply tires tend to really squirm around, so if you start to get them locked up, you're not going to come back. They're not as easy to modulate as a radial tire.
The tendency of the drums, that it's self-energizing, so it doesn't respond quite as quickly. There's a little hysteresis, so if you reach the limit, you're pretty much stuck there. It doesn't respond and back off of the limit as quickly as this. So once the car's out of balance, it's very hard to bring it back.